2 weeks had passed since William's arrival in Monterey. These 2 weeks had been a turning point for Stephan. Not only had he helped, but in helping he had healed himself and found himself. Every morning they went out to sea together. He passed on the techniques Giuseppe had taught him to William, teaching him the subtleties of fishing, the language of the sea, the sound of the waves. William was a quick learner. Just like Stephan, the sea calmed him, healed him. But Stephan wasn't just spending time with William anymore. He had become part of the Monterey community. Every evening, the fishermen gathered at Martha's coffee shop, recounting their days, sharing stories, supporting each other. Giuseppe, Marco, Carlos, Antonio, Samuel, Daniel, each had a story. Each had pain, loss, struggles. But they clung to each other, kept each other going. That morning, Stephan woke up earlier than usual. The sun hadn't risen yet, but the sky was beginning to turn pink. He looked out the window of his cabin. The sea was quiet. The pier was empty. Only a few seagulls were perched on the jetty, waiting for morning. He made coffee, sat by the window, and turned to his notebook. He wrote every day now. Giuseppe's advice: record your thoughts, because one day you'll look back and see how far you've come. Today is October 15th, 1946, my 3rd month in Monterey. 3 months. A very short but very long time. 3 months ago, when I arrived here, I was a dead man. Physically alive but spiritually dead. Margaret, Thomas, Emily, their loss had killed me. But now, 3 months later, I'm different. I still have my pain. Every morning when I wake up, I remember them for a moment and my heart aches. But now that pain doesn't suffocate me. I can live. I can breathe. William said something to me yesterday. You are my lifesaver. I told him, no, you are saving your own life. I am just showing you the way. But actually, William is saving my life too. Because by helping him, I am helping myself. By healing him, I am healing myself. Giuseppe was right. Healing is not something you do alone. It's something done together. He put down his pen and sipped his coffee. The sun was beginning to rise. Golden light illuminated the sea. A new day was beginning. When he got to the pier, Giuseppe and William were already ready. They were both standing next to the second chance, checking the boat. Good morning, Stephan, said Giuseppe with his usual warmth. Today is a big day. Why? Asked Stephan. Because today William will fish alone for the first time, said Giuseppe, patting William on the shoulder. He's ready now. He can go out to sea. William looked a little shy. I don't know, Giuseppe. It feels safer to go with you. No, said Giuseppe firmly. You're ready, I know it. Stephan knows it. You just don't trust yourself, but today you will. Stephan looked at William. The young man was very different from 2 weeks ago. There was a sparkle in his eyes, color in his cheeks, confidence in his posture. Giuseppe was right. He was ready. Giuseppe is right, William, said Stephan. You're ready. And I believe in you. William took a deep breath. Okay, I'll go, but what if there's a problem? There won't be a problem, said Giuseppe. But if there is, I'll be nearby. You yell, I'll come. I'll be nearby too, said Stephan. But you won't need me. You can do it. William nodded. Okay, then I'm going. Giuseppe and Stephan watched William leave the harbor in his boat. The young man looked a little nervous at first, but gradually relaxed. The sound of the engine faded as he moved away. William was left alone with the sea. He's a good kid, said Giuseppe, smiling. Just like you. He'll get better. I know it. Yes, said Stephan. He'll get better. Because here in Monterey it's possible to get better. Giuseppe turned to Stephan. You've come a long way too, Stephan. 3 months ago when you arrived here, you weren't even talking. Now look, you're teaching others. That's a big change. Thanks to you, said Stephan. No, said Giuseppe. Thanks to your own efforts. I just showed you the way. You walked it. That morning, Stephan and Giuseppe set out to sea together. But this time it wasn't just to fish. Giuseppe wanted to show Stephan something else. Today, said Giuseppe, I'll show you Monterey's secret places. Places tourists don't know about, only local fishermen. Why? Asked Stephan. Because you're a local fisherman now, said Giuseppe. It's been 3 months. You've learned the sea, You've blended in with the community. You've become part of Monterey. Now it's time to learn the secrets. They went 15 miles out. Giuseppe turned off the engine. Everything was completely silent. The only sound was the waves hitting the boat. "This is it," said Giuseppe, pointing around. "The heart of Monterey. Here, the sea is deepest, the fish are biggest, the silence is most intense. The old fishermen call this place the Point of Silence." Stephan looked around. The shore was very far away. There was only blue. In every direction, endless blue. "I come here once a year," said Giuseppe, "on the anniversary of Maria's death. And here I talk to her, because here the silence is so intense that you can hear the voices of the dead." Stephan absorbed Giuseppe's words. Do you really hear them?" "Yes," Giuseppe said simply. "Maybe not with my ears, but I hear them with my heart. Maria tells me things, different things every year, and I listen. Today," Giuseppe continued, "I brought you here because maybe you want to talk to them too. Margaret, Thomas, Emily, maybe they want to tell you something too." Stephan closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. He listened to the silence. At first he heard nothing, just the sound of the waves, the wind, his own breathing. But then, slowly, he felt something. Something familiar. A warm feeling. It was as if someone was touching his shoulder. As if someone was whispering in his ear, "Stephan, don't suffer anymore." It was Margaret's voice. Soft, loving, peaceful. "Dad, I'm proud of you." It was Thomas's voice. "Young, strong, brave. Dad, don't forget us, but keep on living." It was Emily's voice. Cheerful, innocent, sweet, his eyes filled with tears. But this time not from pain. They filled with love, gratitude, peace. "They're here," he whispered. "They're really here." Giuseppe smiled. "Yes, they are always here. You just forgot to listen. But now you are listening again." For half an hour, they stayed at the Point of Silence. They didn't talk. They didn't fish. They didn't do anything. They just were, in silence, in peace, in the sea. And in that half hour, Stephan made peace with himself. He made peace with his past. He made peace with his losses. On the way back, Giuseppe asked, "How do you feel?" "Different," said Stephan. "Lighter, as if the weight on my shoulders has lessened a little." "Good," said Giuseppe, "because this journey is about letting go. Every day you shed a little more, and one day you will be completely free. Do you think that day will come?" asked Stephan. "Yes," said Giuseppe. "It will definitely come. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next month, maybe next year. But it will come. I see it. I see it in your eyes." When they returned to the harbor in the afternoon, William was waiting. There was a different sparkle in his eyes. He was happy. Really happy. "Giuseppe! Stephan!" he shouted. "I caught fish! 8 of them!" Giuseppe and Stephan looked at each other and smiled. "William's first success. Bravo," said Giuseppe, patting William on the shoulder. "The first fish is always special." "How was it?" asked Stephan. "It was scary," William said honestly. "At first I panicked. But then I remembered what you said. I took a breath. I stayed calm. And I did it." "That's it," said Stephan. "You're not just surviving anymore. You're starting to live." That evening, the 3 of them cleaned William's fish together. Giuseppe taught. Stephan demonstrated. William did it. They worked like a team, like a family. At Martha's Cafe, they cooked the fish. This time the crowd was bigger. There were new faces. Catherine the teacher, Rosa, fisherman Carlos's wife, old Dr. Harrison, young painter Elena. "Who are these people?" Stephan asked Giuseppe. "The Monterey family," said Giuseppe. "Not just fishermen. Teachers, doctors, artists. We're all family. And now you're part of this family too." Stephan looked around. A month ago these people were strangers, but now he felt a sense of belonging with them. For the first time since Baltimore, he felt like he belonged somewhere. When dinner began, everyone gathered around the table. Martha presided, Giuseppe said grace, and then the meal began. Conversation, laughter, stories. Catherine sat down next to Stephan. "How are you, Stephan?" Are you getting used to Monterey? Yes, said Stephan. This place is special. The people are special. I heard it's good for you, said Catherine. The sea can be healing, especially for those returning from war. Stephan looked at her. How do you know that? My father was a veteran too, said Catherine. He came back from World War I, but he never came back mentally. Nightmares, panic attacks, isolation. He suffered for years. But then he found the sea. He started fishing, and slowly he healed. How is he now? Asked Stephan. He passed away, said Catherine sadly. 5 years ago, but his last years were peaceful. The sea gave him that. So seeing you here makes me happy, because I know it will do you good too. Thank you, said Stephan. This means a lot. After the meal, Dr. Harrison stood up. He was an old man with a white beard and a wise appearance. Dear friends, he said, raising his voice. Today, 2 new members have joined our Monterey family. Stephan and William. Both have returned from war. Both are on the road to recovery. And we are here to support them. Applause rose. Stephan and William stood up and thanked him. But, Dr. Harrison continued, we are not here just to welcome them. We are also here to remember that we are a community. This town isn't just a geographical place. It's people, connections, love. We're all wounded in some way. We've all experienced loss in some way. But together we can heal these wounds. Together we can overcome these losses. So, he said, raising his glass, let's drink to Monterey, to our home, to our family, to our hope, to Monterey. They all shouted. Stephan raised his glass, drank. And in that moment he realized this wasn't just a town. It was a refuge for the wounded, for those who had lost, for those trying to heal. And he was now a part of that refuge. As the night progressed, the conversations deepened. Carlos told how he met his wife Rosa. Marco told how he got his first boat. Antonio told the story of his migration from Italy to America. Then Elena, the young painter, stood up. She said hesitantly, want to show you something. She took a painting out of her bag. It was a painting of Monterey Harbor. At sunset, boats in the harbor, fishermen on the pier, the sun on the horizon. This, said Elena, is my love for Monterey. Every day I go to the harbor, sit, watch, and I draw. Because this view gives me hope. It reminds me that every sunset brings a new sunrise. Everyone silently examined the painting. It was beautiful, emotional, real. This is wonderful, said Catherine. Where will you hang it? I don't know, said Elena. Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll keep it. No, Martha said suddenly. You should hang it here in the cafe. Here, where everyone can see it, and everyone can see the beauty you see. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Really? Yes, Martha said firmly. This painting is the spirit of Monterey, and spirit should be shared. Elena gave the painting to Martha. Martha immediately took down an old photograph on the wall and hung the painting. It looked perfect. The light streaming in through the window overlooking the harbor illuminated the painting. Perfect, said Giuseppe. Now every day we'll look at this painting, and we'll remember, beauty is always among us. Stephan looked at the painting. He looked at it for a long time. That boat could have been the second chance. That fisherman could have been himself. That sunset could have been a symbol of his own hope. Elena, he said, this painting, it's really special. Thank you for sharing it. I thank you, said Elena, because you inspired me. When I first saw you on the pier, alone, lost. But now I look at you. You're different. You're stronger. You're more hopeful. And that's the real subject of my painting, transformation. William turned to Elena. Will you paint a picture of me too? Elena smiled. Of course, but first you must complete your own transformation. Then I will paint that transformation. It's a deal, said William. When midnight came, the group began to disperse. Everyone returned to their own homes. But before leaving, they all hugged each other, said goodbye, and said, see you tomorrow. Stephan and William walked together to the pier. Giuseppe walked ahead of them, whistling cheerfully. Today, said William, was a wonderful day. For the first time in a long time, I felt like family. Because this is a family, said Stephan. There's no blood bond, but there's a heart bond. And a bond of the heart is sometimes stronger than a bond of blood. Do you think, said William, I can be like you? Can I heal like you? Yes, said Stephan firmly. It takes time. It takes patience. But yes, you can, because you're not here alone. You're not alone. You're with us. Giuseppe paused, turned. Both of you, he said, have come a long way. I'm proud, because you didn't just learn fishing. You learned how to live. Thanks to you, said Stephan. No, said Giuseppe. Through your own efforts. I only showed you the way. You walked it. That night in his cabin, Stephan turned to his notebook. It had been a long day. There was much to write. Today is October 16th, 1946. The next day of my 3-month journey. William had his first success. He caught a fish all by himself. The joy in his eyes reminded me of my own first success. In the evening, we ate with the community at Martha's Cafe. I met new people, Teacher Catherine, Dr. Harrison, Painter Elena, all special people, all people who have lived their own stories, endured their own pain. But most importantly, they are all standing. They are all alive. They are all hopeful. Elena's painting really moved me. Monterey Harbor at sunset, just like my life. The transition from darkness to light. Giuseppe told me something else today. Living isn't just about breathing. It's about connecting, loving, sharing. And today I connected. I loved. I shared. The strangers I met on the Monterey coast would become my family over time. Now I understand. This is not just a sentence. This is real. In the middle of November, the first storm hit Monterey. The wind picked up, the waves swelled, the sky darkened. All the fishermen stayed in the harbor, tied up their boats, and waited for the storm to pass. In Giuseppe's cabin, Stephan, William, Marco, Carlos, Antonio, Samuel, and Daniel gathered. Martha brought hot soup and bread. Outside, the storm raged, but inside, there was a warm, peaceful atmosphere. These storms, said Giuseppe, pouring wine, always come in November. The sea is preparing for winter. It's warning us, be careful, winter is coming. How long will it last? Asked William, looking out the window. A day, maybe 2, said Marco. But don't worry, the boats are safe. We tied them up well. Storms are scary, said William. They take me back to Okinawa. The bombings, the explosions. Stephan touched William's shoulder. I know, but remember this. This isn't war. This is nature. And nature doesn't want to kill you. It's just showing its power. How do you tell the difference? William asked. How do you know this isn't danger? With practice, said Stephan. With every storm, you learn a little more. And after a while, you start listening to the storm's voice with respect, not panic. Antonio listened quietly. Then he spoke. In Italy, we say the sea has 3 faces. The calm face, the angry face, and the wise face. The calm face nourishes you. The angry face tests you. The wise face teaches you. Today, said Antonio, the sea is showing its angry face, but tomorrow perhaps it will show its wise face. And we will learn from both faces. Samuel picked up his guitar. Storm time, he said, is music time, because music calms the storm, at least the storm inside us. He began to play. A slow, melancholic melody, blues. Everyone listened quietly. The music made them forget the sound of the storm. Daniel closed his eyes and moved to the rhythm. Carlos gently kept the beat. Marco began to sing, an old song in Italian, and Stephan at that moment realized something. These people weren't just fishermen. They were artists, musicians, storytellers. Each had a different talent. And together they formed a harmony, just like a family. When the song ended, Martha clapped her hands. Bravo, wonderful. Now who will tell a story? I'll tell one, said Carlos. I'll tell you about the day I first set sail. Carlos's story was funny. At 16, he had run away on his father's boat, gone out to sea, but didn't know how to use the engine. In the end, he was swept away by the current and found 3 miles away. My dad, said Carlos, laughing, was so angry when he saw me. He said, "You're the dumbest fisherman in the world." But then he hugged me and said, "But you're brave, and bravery can't be learned. Either you have it or you don't." And then, Carlos continued, "My dad taught me everything. How to use the motor, how to cast a net, how to clean fish, everything. And today, I teach others. Because knowledge should be shared." Stephan looked at Carlos. "Does your father still fish?" "No," said Carlos sadly. "He passed away 3 years ago. Heart attack. But every time I go out to sea, I feel him. In the wind, the waves, the sun. He's still with me. Just like Maria," said Giuseppe. "Just like Jack. Just like Margaret, Thomas, Emily. They're gone, but they're also always here." There was silence. Everyone thought of their own losses. But this silence wasn't sad. It was respectful. The storm raged on through the night. But in the cabin, no one was afraid. Because they were together, and being together conquered every fear. Towards morning, the storm subsided. The sun rose, the sky brightened, the sea calmed. Everyone went outside to check their boats. The second chance was sound. The ropes held, the hull was undamaged, the engine was dry. Stephan breathed a sigh of relief. "You tied it well," said Giuseppe approvingly. "You weathered your first storm. Now you're a real fisherman." That afternoon, Catherine, the teacher, came to the pier. She had a box in her hand. "Stephan," she said, "I brought something for you." She opened the box. Inside were a series of books. Old books, second-hand books, but they were in good condition. "What are these?" asked Stephan. "Books," said Catherine. "About the sea, about fishing, about life. I thought you might want something to read on long winter nights." Stephan looked at the books. Moby Dick, The Old Man and the Sea, 2 Years Vacation. Classics. "That's very kind of you," said Stephan. "But these must have been expensive." "No," said Catherine. "They're from the library at school. Old, nobody was reading them. They'll be more useful to you." "Thank you," said Stephan sincerely. "Really, thank you very much." Catherine smiled. "Actually, I have a request. Would you tell the children something about the sea? Come to the school and talk about fishing, the sea, life." Stephan was surprised. I'm not a teacher. I don't know how to tell stories." "That's okay," said Catherine. "Just share your experiences. Kids love real stories. And your story is very valuable." Stephan hesitated. But then he thought of William. He thought of how he had helped him, how he had taught him. And he made up his mind. "Okay," he said. "I'll come. Whenever you want." "Monday?" Catherine said excitedly. "In the afternoon?" "Sure," said Stephan. That evening he told Giuseppe. The old man was very happy. "Magnifico," he said. "You're not just a fisherman anymore. You're also a teacher." "That's wonderful. But I don't know what to tell them," said Stephan anxiously. "Tell them the truth," said Giuseppe simply. "How you came to love the sea, how you healed, how you learned to live. Children understand the truth. Not lies, the truth." On Monday afternoon, Stephan went to the school. It was a small school, single-story wooden buildings. Catherine was waiting in the classroom. 25 students aged 8 to 10. "Children," said Catherine, "we have a special guest today. Mr. Mitchell, he's a fisherman. And he's going to tell you about the sea." The children looked at Stephan curiously. At first, Stephan felt nervous. But then he saw William's face. Curious, open, non-judgmental, like the children's. "Hello," said Stephan. "I'm Stephan. And I'm a fisherman. But a few months ago, I wasn't a fisherman. I was a soldier, a lost man. But the sea found me. And today, I'm going to tell you that story." For an hour, he told them. He told them about the sea, the waves, the fish, the storms, Giuseppe, the second chance. He told them everything. But he didn't talk about the war. He didn't talk about the pain. He only talked about how the sea healed him, how it taught him, how it gave him life. The children listened attentively. They asked questions. "Did you see a shark? Were you afraid of getting lost at sea? Do fish feel pain?" Stephan patiently answered every question. And as he answered, he realized, while teaching the children, he was learning too. their innocence, their curiosity, their openness. These things reminded him of life. When the lesson was over, a little girl approached him. "Mr. Mitchell," she said timidly, "my dad works at sea too, but he doesn't come home every day. Do you think he's okay?" Stephan crouched down in front of the girl. "Yes," he said softly. "He's okay, because the sea protects your dad, just like it protects me. And when he comes home every day, give him a big hug, because he works very hard for you." The girl's eyes filled with tears. "Okay, I will." Catherine saw Stephan off at the door. "You were wonderful," she said. "The kids loved you. Will you come again?" "Yes," said Stephan. "I'd like to." Walking back to the pier, Stephan felt different. Lighter, more meaningful. Because today he wasn't just a fisherman. He was a teacher, a mentor, a guide, and that gave him a new purpose. In late November, something changed in Monterey. The weather turned colder, the sea rougher, but the community grew closer. Winter was coming, and everyone knew it. The fishermen began preparing their boats for winter. But there was a tradition, the big pre-winter gathering. "We do it every year," Giuseppe said, explaining to Stephan. "The whole town gathers, we review the year, we thank each other, and most importantly, we officially welcome the new members." "New members?" Stephan asked. "You and William," said Giuseppe with a smile. "This year we gained 2 new fishermen. That should be celebrated." The gathering took place on Saturday evening at Martha's coffee shop. But this time the coffee shop was too small, so they moved to the town square. They set up long tables, lit a fire, hung lights. Stephan and William waited, feeling a little nervous. They didn't know what to expect. After the sun went down, people started arriving. Not just fishermen. Teachers, doctors, shopkeepers, retirees, children. The whole town came. Dr. Harrison appeared. "Dear friends," he said, raising his voice, "tonight is a special night, because this year 2 valuable people have joined us." He pointed to Stephan and William. Stephan Mitchell and William Parker. Both returned from the war. Both were wounded, not physically, but emotionally. And both came here to heal. "And we," Dr. Harrison continued, "we're happy to embrace them, because this town is not just a place. It's a family. And family always keeps its doors open." Applause rose. Stephan felt embarrassed, but also proud. William's eyes filled with tears. Giuseppe stood up. "I met Stephan 3 months ago. He was a lost man, but now he's a fisherman. Not just a fisherman, a teacher, a friend, a brother." Martha stood up. "I met William a month ago. He was a broken man, but now he's recovering. Every day he gets a little stronger. And I'm proud of him." Marco stood up. "These 2 men taught us something. Courage. Because coming here takes courage. Asking for help takes courage. And healing takes the greatest courage of all." Carlos stood up. "I met them at sea. They were both talking to the sea, and the sea was listening to them. It's a special bond. A sacred bond." One by one, everyone stood up. Everyone said something. About Stephan and William. About the community. About Monterey. And Stephan, at that moment, understood something. This town wasn't just a geographical place. It was a state of mind. It was a place where people accepted each other, supported each other, healed together. Finally, Dr. Harrison stood up again. "Now, as tradition dictates, our new members will each say a few words." Stephan and William looked at each other. Stephan stood up. His throat tightened, but he began to speak. "I," he said, his voice trembling, "don't know how to thank you. When I came here, I was finished. My family was dead. There was a hole in my soul. There was no future." He paused, took a breath. "But you accepted me. Without questions, without judgment, without hesitation. Giuseppe gave me a boat. Martha gave me food. Marco, Carlos, Antonio, Samuel, Daniel, all of you gave me friendship. And Catherine," he said, looking at the teacher, "you gave me purpose. Teaching the children reminded me of myself. I'm not just a soldier. I'm a human being too." His eyes filled with tears. "Monterey gave me a second chance, and I won't waste it. Every day I'll try to be a better person. For you, for myself, and for my family. Thank you. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. He sat down. Applause echoed across the square. Some were crying. William stood up. He was younger, more shy, but determined. I, he said, can't speak as well as Stephan. But I can say one thing. You saved me. When I returned from Okinawa, I was in a terrible state. Nightmares, flashbacks, panic attacks. Every day I wanted to die. But then I met Stephan, and he showed me the sea. The sea, William continued, taught me how to live, and you taught me how to have a family. I'm not alone anymore. I'm with you, and that changes everything. Thank you, he said simply. Just thank you. He sat down. Stephan squeezed his shoulder. Giuseppe sat between the two young men, putting his arms around their shoulders. Now, said Dr. Harrison, it's time to eat. Food was laid out on the tables. Fish, seafood, salad, bread, desserts, wine. Everything was there. Everyone ate, drank, and chatted. When the music started, Samuel picked up his guitar. He played the blues, then jazz, then old Italian songs. Marco sang loudly. Antonio kept the beat. Carlos and Rosa danced. Stephan was talking to Catherine. The kids talk about you a lot, said Catherine. Every week they ask, when is Mr. Mitchell coming? They're special, said Stephan. Innocent, curious, non-judgmental. Spending time with them does me good. Maybe, Catherine said hesitantly. It could be regular. Once or twice a month, you could teach the kids about the sea, about life. Sure, said Stephan. I'd be happy to. William was talking to Elena. The young artist had taken out a sketchbook and was drawing William's face. Hold still, said Elena. Perfect light. The reflection of the fire hits your face beautifully. William tried to pose, but laughed. This feels strange. You'll get used to it, said Elena. Art is about capturing reality. And your reality is very powerful. I can see it. What do you see? William asked. I see a warrior, Elena said. But not just a warrior fighting. A warrior healing. And that is much more beautiful. As the night progressed, the stories turned. Dr. Harrison recounted his days as a young doctor. Rosa told her story of migrating from Mexico. Samuel recounted his encounters with jazz legends, and Stephan listened quietly. Every story was a life. Every life was a struggle, and everyone here together was trying to win that struggle. As midnight approached, Giuseppe stood up. There's one more tradition, he said. Every year we give a gift to the new members. Something small, but meaningful. He turned to Stephan and William. Stephan, you came first. Let's start with your gift. Marco brought a small box. Stephan opened it. Inside was an old compass, but it was different from Martha's compass. This, said Marco, is my grandfather's compass. He used it when he came from Italy to America. It crossed oceans. It weathered storms. And finally it arrived here, in Monterey. I'm giving this compass to you, said Marco, because you too are on a journey. A long, difficult journey, and this compass will guide you. Stephan looked at the compass. It was old, rusty, but beautiful. Thank you, Marco. I will always carry this with me. William, said Giuseppe, it's your turn for a gift. Martha brought a small package. William opened it. Inside was a handmade notebook. Blank pages, leather-bound. This, said Martha, was my son's notebook. Before he went to war, he wrote in it every day. His thoughts, his feelings, his dreams. After he died, Martha continued, her eyes filling with tears. The notebook wasn't finished. There were blank pages left, and I thought that these blank pages should be filled with someone else's story. Your story, William, said Martha. You write too. Your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, because your story is worth telling. William pressed the notebook to his chest. Thank you, Martha. This means so much. The meeting ended in the early hours of the morning. Everyone returned to their own homes. But before leaving, they all hugged Stephan and William, saying, Welcome to our family. Stephan and William walked together to the pier. It was night, but the moon was shining. The sea was like silver. Today, said William, was one of the best days of my life. Me too, said Stephan. Because today I truly felt like I belonged. Not just accepted, truly belonging. Do you think, said William, we deserve this town? All these good people? Yes, said Stephan firmly. Because we are good people too. Wounded but good, and we're trying to heal. That's enough to deserve it. December 1946, Monterey, 4th month. It was the first days of winter. Stephan looked out the window of his cabin. It wasn't snowing. It rarely snowed in Monterey, but it was cold, the wind was blowing hard, and the sea was dark. He realized he had reached the last pages of his notebook. The notebook he had been writing in for 4 months was almost full. Each page was a day, each day a step, each step towards recovery. He opened the last page. He began to write, December 15th, 1946, my 4th month in Monterey. Today, looking back, I can see how far I've come. 4 months ago, when I arrived here, I was a dead man. Margaret, Thomas, Emily, their loss had completely destroyed me. But today I am different. I still miss them, every day, every moment. But now that longing no longer suffocates me. I can live. Giuseppe taught me fishing, but not just fishing. He taught me patience, acceptance, peace. While helping William, I learned that I was helping myself. The Monterey community taught me what it means to be family, and most importantly, I learned to forgive myself, because their deaths weren't my fault, just an unfortunate tragedy, and I have the right to live despite this tragedy. Tomorrow, William and I will do something for Giuseppe. A New Year's gift, a small gesture, but meaningful. Because Giuseppe gave me everything. Now it's my turn to give him something. He put down his pen. That day, he and William would start the project they had planned. In the afternoon, with William's help, they began repairing Giuseppe's old boat, the Sage of the Sea. The old man hadn't been on this boat for years. I'm too old now, he would say. The sea is for the young. But Stephan and William wanted to get Giuseppe back out on the sea. They wanted him to enjoy those old days once more. For 2 weeks they worked in secret. The engine was repaired, the sails were hoisted, the paint was renewed. Marco, Carlos, Antonio, everyone helped. It was a surprise for Giuseppe. On New Year's Eve, the whole community gathered at Martha's Cafe. They were going to enter 1947, a new year, new hopes. As midnight approached, Stephan stood up. Giuseppe, he said, getting everyone's attention. This year you've given us so much. To William, to me, to all of us. And we've prepared a gift for you. Giuseppe was surprised. A gift? But I don't need anything. Guess what? Said William with a smile. Come, let us show you. They all walked to the pier together. It was night, but the moon was shining. And there next to the pier was the Sage of the Sea, refurbished, gleaming, ready. Giuseppe's mouth fell open. His eyes filled with tears. This is my boat. Yes, said Stephan. Your boat, ready again, waiting for you. Giuseppe slowly approached the boat. He placed his hand on the hull, caressing it. Maria and I first went out to sea with this boat, he whispered. 50 years ago, and since that day, it has been my most precious treasure. Now, said Giuseppe, crying, it is precious again. Thanks to you. Thank you. Thank you all, Martha said. Tomorrow morning we'll all go out to sea together. We'll welcome the new year at sea, with Giuseppe leading us. Applause rose. Giuseppe touched everyone on the shoulder, hugged everyone, and the longest hug was for Stephan and William. You, said Giuseppe, are my real sons. There is no blood bond, but there is a heart bond, and that is stronger. That night, Stephan couldn't sleep. He was excited. Tomorrow they would go out to sea with Giuseppe. For the first time, not just as students, but as partners. When morning came, the whole community was at the pier. Giuseppe boarded the Wise One of the Sea. Stephan and William were beside him. Marco, Carlos, Antonio, Samuel, everyone was in their own boats. Today, said Giuseppe, raising his voice, is a special day. Because today we're not just fishing, we're celebrating life. We're celebrating friendship. We're celebrating family. Come on, he shouted. To the sea. The boats left the harbor one by one. The wise one of the sea was leading the way. Giuseppe was at the helm, his eyes shining, smiling. They went 10 miles out. They turned off the engines. The boats rocked side by side on the waves, and Giuseppe began to sing an old Italian song. A song about the sea, Maria's favorite song. Everyone listened, quietly, respectfully. And when the song ended, Giuseppe looked up at the sky. "Maria," he whispered, "today, I am with you. I have always been with you. And today, thanks to these young people, I am back at sea. Thank you. To them, to you, to life." Stephan touched Giuseppe's shoulder. "We thank you, Giuseppe, for everything." That day, they didn't catch any fish. They just stayed on the sea. They talked, laughed, remembered, and they made plans for the new year. Catherine approached Stephan. Her boat was next to the second chance. "Stephan," she said, "I want to ask you something." "Ask," said Stephan. "Would you like to teach the children regularly at school? 1 day a week. Lessons about the sea, fishing, nature, life." Stephan thought about it. Teaching. This would give him a new purpose. "Yes," he said. "I would like to. I'd be happy to." Catherine smiled. "Wonderful. The children will be delighted." William had turned to Elena. The painter was drawing her, at sea, in the sunlight, happy. "This," said Elena, "will be the most beautiful painting. Because you are the most beautiful transformation." When they returned to the harbor in the afternoon, Stephan went to his cabin. He turned to the last page of his notebook. He wanted to write one last time. January 1st, 1947. New Year. Today, Giuseppe and I went out to sea, in his old boat, and for the first time, I felt truly happy. Not perfect, but real. The strangers I met on the Monterey coast became my family. Giuseppe is my father. Martha is my mother. Marco, Carlos, Antonio, Samuel, my brothers. Catherine, William, Elena, my friends, and Margaret, Thomas, Emily. They are my eternal family. They will always be in my heart. But now, I no longer live only in the past. I live in the present, and I look to the future with hope, because I have learned that. To live is not just to breathe. It is to feel, to connect, to love, to share, to teach, and I am living now. Truly living. This notebook is full. But my journey isn't over. I'll get a new notebook, and I'll keep writing, because every day is a new page. Every day is a new chance. My second chance was the most beautiful gift. And now, I'm waiting for my third, fourth, fifth chances, because life is endless chances, endless hope. Thank you, Monterey. Thank you, sea. Thank you, Giuseppe. And thank you, Margaret, Thomas, Emily. Your love brought me here. Your legacy keeps me alive with your love forever. Stephan Mitchell, fisherman, teacher, survivor. He put down his pen. He closed the notebook. He went to the window. He looked outside. The sun was setting. The sky was golden. Second chance was docked at the pier. Ready, waiting. Tomorrow would be a new day, a new chance, a new hope, and Stephan Mitchell was ready. Finally, he was truly ready. Stephan Mitchell's journey did not end here. He had many years ahead of him. He would teach children, mentor William, go fishing with Giuseppe, and become an indispensable part of the Monterey community. But the most important thing had been achieved. Healing. Not complete, not perfect, but real healing. The war had taken his family from him, but the sea had given him a new life. The strangers he met on the Monterey coast had, over time, become his family. And that was the greatest miracle of all.